Hey everybody, it's good to see you all again. This segment is just to kind of let you guys know what is going on in this episode. So, in this episode, there is a situation. Towards the end, or anywhere in this episode, there is a blank. That means there's no sound coming in the episode, and you might think that is your fault. That is my fault. You can blame me, say it was my fault, because that is an editing problem, and that's because of recording and the recording platform that I use. If that happens to be in the episode, if that's in it, what you need to do is to just disregard it. Don't worry about it. Consider it like an ad break. Consider it like a break. Consider it like we're taking a 5 minute break. Consider it like that. So, no freaking out. No need to worry. Make sure you guys enjoy the episode, enjoy what's in it, and y'all have a good one. And enjoy this one. Really enjoy it and have fun. And please disregard the blanks in there, consider them breaks. Hope you guys enjoy this episode and thank you guys for understanding and for your cooperation. Hey,
All
everybody.
right.
It's good to see you all again. This is so exciting. Today I'm here with incredible musician and a fellow podcaster, and I'm so excited to meet him. We went through tons of rescheduling and tons of delays, but I'm good. I'm so glad he's finally here. Say hey to the world.
Hi, hello. I'm Santiago Ramones.
Hey, I'm so happy that you're finally here. Thank you so much for taking your time out to do this.
Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. A lot of us do not know you. You know that. So, I kind of want to start with a little intro about yourself. So, why don't you give the audience a little taste about you?
Yeah, so I'm Santiago Ramones. I'm a composer, podcaster, and a musician in general. So pretty much everything I do is music and audio. So I write songs with words and I mostly sing and play guitar, but I also do a lot of electronic production. I have an EP coming out that's all instrumental and electronic and kind of spacey and weird and distorted at times. And so my music can really run the gamut from like super classical or like film scoring type stuff all the way to like I've done some rap stuff, but a lot of rock stuff, maybe even some like cheesy pop love songs and stuff like that. So really just any kind of music that you can get me to do or that you want to hear, I can make it. And so I've really, there's nothing that I don't feel like doing. I haven't really leaned much into country, but country music has really good songwriting, and I'm all about good songwriting. So who knows? Yeah, I like to tell stories through music, through song, through writing, and so if I can tell a story sonically with just instruments and sounds, or if I can tell a story through words and lyrics, it's all part of the whole medium. And then, yeah, I also have a podcast. It's called Bit Depth, and I interview interesting people about deep stuff. And so I always ask like impossible questions, like what's your definition of God, or how do you determine what good behavior is? How do we reduce the division between people? Stuff like that. And it always makes for a really good conversation.
Oh, that's sweet. That's sweet. Wow, so you're like an everything artist then, because you're a producer. I mean, that's a mouth.
Can you say that one more time? You were like cutting out.
I'm sorry. I was basically like, that's a lot on your plate. I mean, singer, writer, producer, composer, and podcaster. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot of a mouthful.
Yeah, it's why it's always so hard for me to like tell people what I do because it's also like I run my own business and I also like edit podcasts for other people and I also like so it's like anything music and audio I'm good for.
That's cool. That's cool. I would ask you to be asked about you. I have a feeling you charge. I'm not gonna go.
Say that one more time. Sorry.
That's okay. I was kind of jokingly because you said that I was gonna ask to edit, be editor, but I said I have a feeling you charge, so I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I do have professional audio rates, but I think that uh, it sucks that, you know, an audio medium like this has to, you know, involve money at some point, but uh, it's hard for musicians to get paid. It's hard for audio professionals to get paid, and so like we're all trying our best to make a living. So yeah, money
Yeah, I
keeps the
totally
world
get where you're
going right
going
now.
with that. Okay, I see where you're with that one. All right, but that whole thing that you're going on so much, like how are you able to manage all?
Yeah, so each thing is just kind of project by project. And so everything just kind of explodes with each thing. Or sometimes I'll just bounce back and forth. A lot of times it's hard to stay on task if there's like something going on that I am a little bit more interested in. You know, sometimes like for editing podcasts, for example, like I have to like sit down and listen to like go through the whole thing and remove every and like and pause and stuff like that. And so sometimes yeah, I'm a little unmotivated to go through maybe an hour long thing and trim it down to like 30 minutes. But then other times it's like, man, I am really just enjoying messing with this idea and let me just play with it some more and see how many more musical things can come out of it. Or due dates also help too. And so it's like, hey, we need you to get these cues done for this documentary by the end of the week. And it's like, well, cool. That means that I have this exact amount of time to do it, and this is what I need to be doing right now. And so, yeah, due dates help a lot. But yeah, I can be a bit scatterbrained sometimes. Um, but everything kind of feeds into itself. It's like this this thing that I'm working on for myself can help inform something that I'm working on for someone else's project, can help, or listening to someone else's podcast that I'm editing will really inform something that I end up talking about on my own podcast. So it's really interesting to have a wide variety of creative input in a way to kind of influence what I'm doing.
Oh, I see where you are with that one. Wow, you're like so professional. Your voice even sounds professional. So it sounds like one of those commercial guys you see on Spotify. Like you see some of those commercials where there's a man speaking in the background and telling you about their like brand. You just sound like that. Have you noticed that you just sound like that?
Since I have been doing bit depth for 5 years, I've gotten really comfortable in front of a microphone. And, you know, I still say things like a lot. I still say a lot. And that's just how anyone naturally speaks. Whenever you hear anyone in a recorded medium that sounds absolutely perfect, they're either like a super trained public speaker or they've just had someone edit it all out. So, uh, you know, I've had some practice. It's been 5 years in the making. I'm still going, still getting better. But hey, there you go. There's an the it is
Uh,
more like just practice and practice and yeah, and then whenever you have to like edit out someone else's for many hours on end, you do start noticing them in yourself and go, man, I would prefer that no one have to edit this stuff out or no one have to listen to this. And so, yeah, I've gotten a little bit better at speaking in just paying attention to when the is about to come out, for example. But at the same
oh,
time, I'm not going to shame anyone for speaking in any way because it's just the way we talk. I don't actually even edit my own podcast. I leave everything in because I like the thought process of people working through what they're thinking and working through what they're processing in their minds as they're discussing. So yeah, I edit other people's podcasts and make them sound like this beautiful, brilliant person that knows exactly what they're going to say, but no one knows exactly what they're going to say, you know?
Okay, that's insane. So you don't edit your own. That's exactly me. If you watch every episode of mine, I don't edit, and the ones that I do edit is like 1 hour specials or like very popular artists. But you and I are on the same boat because I don't edit my stuff, and I have a thing behind what I do. But it feels good that another podcaster doesn't edit, so I don't really feel out of place. So we're basically the same in that kind of thing. And I had no idea that you don't edit. I thought because you're professional, you just edit everything. I thought you did. And so it's weird now that you don't edit anything. So whatever you record, you just leave it. So if there's like blanks um or those you just leave them in there then? You just leave those in there?
Yeah, I feel like, again, for my podcast, especially being more about having deep conversations and kind of thoughts that you don't normally have every day, I think that it's more interesting leaving the thought process in, to where, like, man, this is something that I haven't thought about before. You got to give me a second to like really process this thing. And I think that is more interesting to show, rather than like, if no one's ever asked you what free will is, you're not just gonna like, oh yeah, this is my answer for that question. It's like, no, you haven't thought about it before. You gotta like take a second to like stammer through the thought process that you're having. And so it's like, I think it's more interesting to see what people are processing as they're having a thought aloud. And so, and then the other part is that like the amount of time it takes for me to edit other people's podcasts, and they're paying me a certain rate, and it's like, well, I'm not paying myself enough of a rate to make it worth it to edit my own podcast, even if I wanted to. So it's like, you know, I have more of an incentive to not edit my own podcast, and I like it that way anyways.
I'm the same. I'm definitely the same. I love it too. I sometimes kind of regret not doing it, and people have asked me about it. I'm just like, whatever, like, I'm fine with it. I'm sure you've had that when people ask you, why don't you edit? And you're like, I'm fine with it. I don't really care. I'm pretty okay with it. Because I ever
Yeah,
really happens.
humans talk like this. It's okay.
Yeah, I think without the editing, it really kind of kind of spoils the uniqueness of the podcast and makes, I guess in some sort of way, make it a lot better without editing. It makes it a lot more interesting to listen to. It's also kind of funny. It's hilarious.
Yeah, sometimes crazy stuff happens, and that's cool to leave in too. And some errors happen. Sometimes people make mistakes, and it's okay to kind of show the fact that like, oh, this person that I was referencing, I actually meant to say this person. It's like, cool, yeah, this person makes mistakes like I do. That's cool too.
And you can also build friendships because if there was two podcasts that had the same kind of thing like we're having, that kind of builds a strong relationship, and even the listener like builds a strong rate of listening and kind of benefits also. So so generally I love it. I wish more people did too.
Yeah.
I have a feeling why they don't. But I don't want to get into that. I don't want to get into that. Okay. And now that's another I hate those.
It's
I hate
okay.
when I can't. That's good. I wish somebody would tell me that's okay. No, I have that sometimes. People tell me it's okay. It feels nice. Just coming out of your mouth saying it's okay. I can relate to you also, so that's a good thing. Uh, so I want to kind of start off with your music because we've talked a lot about podcasting, and I don't want to turn this to the whole conversation about podcasting. This is a music podcast, so I want to go into your music as well because you've got the type of podcasting like I do. You also have music to go along too. So when did that whole thing happen with your music career? How did that start?
Yeah, so I mean, I guess you could say that my music career started whenever I was in like elementary school, like everyone taking music classes in elementary school or whatever. But it is kind of funny because, you know, at that point everyone is kind of forced to do music, if you will, because it's just like a music class that everyone has to take. But even in elementary school, there was like an advanced sort of like audition type choir that my choir teacher was like, hey, you should audition for this thing and get to join this like extracurricular choir of like children's choir, and you have to like practice this music, and like you'll go to this other different school and practice with like other kids that you've never seen before and sing songs together. And right from whenever I was in, I think that was like 4th grade or something like that, I was already trying to be more involved in music than I had to be. Whenever I actually, you know, the question of like, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? A long time ago, I would have said that I wanted to be a comic book illustrator. I was more of an artist, like visual artist, than I was a musician. But then I joined band in middle school because my brother was in band. I have 2 older brothers. And so music just slowly kept taking over my life. In high school, I was in choir, show choir, band, marching band. I was in the school musicals. I did the talent shows. And so I was always just like trying to get more involved in more music as much as I could. And so, yeah, whenever I got out of high school, I was like, what am I doing with my life? Okay, well, I've been doing all this music stuff. Let me try and major in music. Um, hey, there you are again. Okay, cool. um, and so, are you good? You just like popped in and out, and so I just want to make sure that you're good.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My computer, the audio just cut off. So that is my bad. It sometimes happens, and I hate it when. But yeah, I'm still here. I'm sorry about that whole.
It's
This is
all
one of the things I
good.
was talking about with the
Yeah,
whole.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so yeah, whenever I started going to college, I went for vocal music education, which is just a long way of saying a choir teacher in like schools or something. And I thought like, yeah, I could just do that as a job. But I was already starting to write songs in high school. I was writing my own music, and I taught myself guitar. I didn't have any like music lessons privately because I this is sort of a separate tangent thought, but everything is kind of linked together. Is that I grew up undocumented in the U.S. I was born in Venezuela, and I moved to Oklahoma in 2001. So I've been mostly grown up in the United States, and so the like, man, I just lost my train of thought. Here you go. Here's part of the thinking out loud process that happens.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
yeah, so I grew up undocumented, and my parents weren't very like, you know, throwing money out anywhere, and so we couldn't really pay for music lessons. So I taught myself guitar. I taught myself how to write songs. I kind of just, aside from all of the like musical training that I had in all of the like extracurricular stuff that I was doing in school, I at least taught myself how to play bass and guitar. And then once I went to college for music, I learned more piano and how to sing more like classically. So I have training in like operatic style singing as well. And so, and then video games were also a big part of my life. And so I've been like taking in all these musical influences all over my life. And so I had actually changed majors to go to uh, like music production school instead. And so that's kind of where the production side of my stuff comes in. And so I guess at the start you kind of said like, oh man, you like do all these different things. And to me, it's all kind of just part of the path that I've taken. And like all of it is me. I do write the music. I do perform the music. I do sing the music. I do produce the music. I do all the audio. And that's just like everything that's been a part of my story. And so I guess maybe I'm like a bit of a control freak, and it's like, if I can do it all myself, I will. And that's kind of where I am, is that like, well, I can compose all the music myself. I can arrange all the music myself. I can make it all sound good. I can perform it all myself. And anything else that I can't do, I can hire out to other musicians like drummers or string players, but I can also give them all the sheet music that they can do, that they can read. And so like I have a master's degree in music composition. And so it's like all this stuff is like, I can do it all myself because I can.
Okay, okay. Well, that was like a mouth. But I want to think of like on that. I was like all that stuff that's piled up in your life. It's so extraordinary how you can handle all. And you got, your wife and your cat. I heard a cat. I saw in your bio that you also have your wife and your pet and your whole thing you're doing. I mean, it's just so extraordinary how you're able to do all of that.
Thank you.
It's pretty insane. I don't think I could ever do that. If I was you, I'd probably fall apart.
The thing about whenever people say that, like, oh, that's extraordinary, I don't know if I can do that, is that once you're thrown into it, you kind of have to. And that's a little bit of how I've kind of done a lot of the stuff that I do. It's just that this is like one of the best pieces of advice that I've gotten like a long time ago, which is just like, say yes to everything. If you want to do music, or if you want to do anything in like a music business career, say yes to everything, because then maybe it's a mistake. Maybe you shouldn't have said yes to this thing, but now you have that experience and you can like really learn from that mistake. Like I did one show one time where it was like one of those pay to play things where it's like, if you sell this amount of tickets, like you will get paid, but if you don't, then you don't. And it was like really badly organized and all the genres didn't make sense. It was just like a really bad thing. And like there are a bunch of those industries around and they really take advantage of people. But I did one of those and I was like, oh, okay, I see why this sucks and why some people were telling me not to do it. And so, yeah, sometimes you make mistakes, but like at the same time, you throw yourself into as many things as you can and you try and do it. And over time, you gather all these skills so that you can then be able to say yes to the next cool thing that you actually do want to do and say like, oh, I do know how to do that. I can totally pull this thing off for you and do it well because I know about it now.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I could definitely see where saying yes to like everything comes in place. I wish I've learned that a while back. I said no to things and opportunities that could have been better. So I'm starting to really kind of see where yeses come in place. And in that saying yes to everything's okay, and you also benefit if that thing that you signed up for doesn't work out. Like at least you know now. So saying yes to everything does benefit. So I see where that comes in play.
Yeah. And then another thing is that like we because the music industry is so like exclusive, we're so used to hearing no all the time. And so it's like, oh no, you're not good enough, or no, I don't like your stuff, or no, maybe you're waiting for something else and like maybe you need to be better for something. And so I don't know, I think that us being a like yes to anything, we can like really help bring something new rather than all of the voices that are telling us no all the time. Because yeah, we're going to hear no all the time in the music industry. So one, you got to get used to
Mhm.
that, but then also gather as much experience as you can. And then and then once you're like overwhelmed and you think you can't do it, then it's like, yeah, I actually have to say no to this thing because I have so many good opportunities coming in that that's just one I don't have to say yes to this time.
Mhm. That's definite. I agree with what you're saying, and I've got to start doing it from now on. Like every opportunity I get to say yes to it. So at least now I get that kind of perspective. Like I get to learn something, and also benefit, and also have a good time with it, or no, or no. But you do benefit either way, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet. And going into the music career, was it natural for you to become a musician, or was it the other way around? Was it natural? Like you knew immediately that you wanted to be like a
I can't imagine doing anything else. Like
musician.
there's
Was it that
no
natural?
yeah, it's like I don't have any other skills that are like at the top of my list. Like I'm a giant nerd. I know a lot about like video games and science fiction and stuff, but like it's I don't see as clear of a path that direction, and the amount of time that I've already spent involved in music, it's like, yeah, I'm just going to keep going in this direction. I don't think it was ever like a doubt of like if I would do music. It was more what I would be doing in music. And then at the same time, the way that turned out is just that like there is no necessarily what I do in music. It's just anything. And and so that's why I've diversified my skills so much. So I can produce, I can sing, I can arrange, I can do whatever you need to do, because no matter what, I have to do music. I just can't see it any other way.
Ah, okay, okay. Here's a twist though. What would happen if you were not a musician? That's a twist. Where would you be right now?
I think I would probably like try to be a like media journalist or something. I listen to a lot of podcasts. Obviously, I have a podcast, so I probably listen to a lot of podcasts. But the the video games media and just like uh, journalism for like film and stuff. My wife and I are into like film critique, and I'm really into like video game critique and what makes a film good, what makes a video game good, and what makes it not as good. How is the story in this thing any or like more successful than another one or the sequel or whatever that might be? And that is something that I've spent a lot of time in. And yeah, there has been like some other part of my brain dedicated to like how do you tell a good story in film or in video game. And in some way that still actually connects to what I do with music, because music is still we're trying to evoke some sort of emotion or feeling, or the oh man, there's this quote that I can't remember who it's attributed to, but it's thoughts or words inspire thoughts, and music inspires feelings. So songs inspire thoughts and feelings.
Oh
And
wow.
that's a yeah, and so like you're creating a whole emotional and mental spectrum in somebody's mind through songs.
Uh okay. And I also like the quirky smile you do after you said conversation. The quirky little thing you put. Was that natural too? Like, is that something you do every time you end something? Like you do a quirky little smile. Is that and laugh? Is that also natural? It's not music, but I just gotta know it and see if nerds actually do that.
Yeah, I feel like in some way we're like scared to let something be, I don't know, too serious or something. And so it's like, yeah, here's a really big thought for you. Please don't uh run away.
Oh, okay. You have the same thought process as me because I'm basically like the that's basically me. Like I like talking to you just kind of seems like I'm talking to myself because I'm also a little nerd myself, and this just really feels nice. It just feels like I'm talking to myself also. I don't know if that's coming from you also, but I just feel like I'm talking to someone that relates to me, so I'm pretty glad that I have that. I don't know if you
Yeah.
feel the same way, but that's just me. So
Yeah,
for
no,
me, it's really
I think
nice.
that even just the medium of podcasting allows people to connect in a way that they never would have with anyone on the internet or anyone talking about whatever thing. And so, especially after doing bit depth for so long, I have been able to find that, like, man, we are all so like each other that
Oh yeah.
there's more, we have more things in common with each other than we have things that are different from each other. And that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's so wonderful. I've had a little hard time finding people that relate to me, so whenever I do get an opportunity to find someone that relates to me, I just take in the person. I'm like, it's kind of hard to describe it, but I just enjoy them. I just enjoy them. Like I had a guest a while back that was sort of like this, sort of like you. He's a music nerd. I was enjoying his presence and how he is. Because where I'm from, it's really kind of hard to find people that relates to you. I'm sure with your podcast, it's hard to find people that relate to you. Because for me, I have different guests every episode I do. I have guests that are rappers or singers or composers or producers, and they're all different. It's kind of hard to find people that relate to you. That's something that you've also had experiences with finding, having a hard time finding people that relate to you also.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the thing about being like a nerdy person, is that we really like specific things, and the more specific you get, the harder it is to find other people who relate in that way. And so I've actually also had spent a lot of time in anime communities and like nerd communities in general. So like I I'm actually in this cosplay group called Solstice Cosplay, and we would go to anime conventions and perform skits, and we would dance to music that I produced, or uh, do like parody songs in like dressed as anime characters, and the songs would be like from musicals and stuff. And we like have won awards for that for like 5 years straight, question mark. And so like it's one thing to just be nerdy, it's another thing to do cosplay, and then it's another thing to perform cosplay skits and win awards for them. That's the level of nerd that I'm at. So yes, I have had kind of a hard time finding people to relate to, because I'm on like an extreme level of nerdiness.
That's also me. That's so like me. And I remember hearing your Five Nights at Freddy's skit that you did, and I saw it on YouTube, and it was hilarious. I swear to God, I laughed my laughed my butt off after I listened to it, and I'm like, golly, I cannot wait to meet this guy. He's so imaginative. He's so out there.
Thank you.
Your skit is so hilarious. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I cannot be laughing at you. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
it's all
sorry.
good.
I cannot be
I'm a giant
laughing.
nerd. It's okay.
You and me both. I'm happy to meet another giant one. That's also me. I'm on the same boat. And I love to chuckle too. I hope you do that forever. I hope that's part of your brand too. I hope you're doing that forever. Please. It's cute. It's quirky.
Thanks.
It's nice. It's nice. Oh no, no, I'm growing one. Now I'm having one. Okay. And in the music world, what inspires you the most in music?
I always gravitate towards the bleeding edge or the avant-garde sort of stuff that I always love hearing and seeing things that people are doing that is so out there that it makes me question what normal is, or like where we're at. And so right now I feel like hyperpop, for example, is starting to get a lot bigger. And it's been around for a bit, but it's been more underground. But hyperpop, I think, is one of the like new bleeding edge things where it's highly compressed, hyper produced, and it is so in your face and so distorted, and it's so powerful that things like that, the bleeding edge of music and the bleeding edge of an art form is what always makes me go like, man, let me take it a step further. Let me, do something even crazier that I didn't think I could have done. And so I always love seeing what's on the outskirts of music. And so I actually recently got into Sophie, for example, and may she rest in peace, unfortunately. But like the stuff that Sophie makes, the stuff that Arca makes is all, I mean, even Rebecca Black's like Friday remix was also a great example of hyperpop. And 100 Gex is another one. But that's just in the genre of hyperpop. I'm also really into like clipping, which is an experimental like noise rap group. And so David Diggs' complex storytelling with harsh noise on top of it is my jam. So I always love things that are really out there, because especially because I've gotten so into music and analyzing music because of how much of an education that I've had. And so I've kind of grown a little bit tired of like normal stuff. And so, yeah, tonality, that's cool. 4 chords, all right, yeah. What about, taking a scream and distorting it and looping it and stretching it out and then putting a beat under it? Like, it's however much more we can really like take apart our perceptions of what sound and what music is always going to be like what drives the medium forward.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, I can totally relate to that. I come from a community of musicians, so I definitely see where that knowledge comes into play. So I definitely get your point of view about it. And since me being a musician myself, I can really relate to that. So it's that kind of view kind of stuck in my brain. And I'm kind of used to it. Since you've been a musician for a while, you're kind of used to that point. Yeah. Okay. But I don't know, I'm stuttering again. By the way, I also stutter. I don't know if you've had stuttering issues, but I've had multiple times stuttering, and it's terrible. I don't know if you had the same experience doing it. I don't know. I don't know. You might have never stuttered, but if you did, you can be open about it because I've also done it. Have you?
Have a bad relationship with the word like.
How?
And
Like how?
whenever I'm more nervous, I will say like more. And so it's been completely demoralizing whenever I am, for example, like I've been in a class or something and I get really excited and I raise my hand to answer a question and explain it as best as I can. I feel like I really nailed it. And then someone else just like goes, "You said like a lot." And it just like, well, I screw whatever else I said.
Oh God. Oh wow. Now, I'm not that like kind of person, but I'm so glad that you also had that experience because then that relates to us even more. That relates to us even more, so that's good. That's good. Wow, this was like God telling me that this was a good time to meet you. Wow. And I've learned a lot just meeting you here. It's been a lot. Okay. Now let's see. I've never heard of hyper pop. That's new to me. And noise rap, I never heard of them. And those artists, as you said, none of them I've listened to ever. You just introduced two new genres to me. I've never heard of them in my life. I've never heard anything like it, so I didn't even know they exist.
Well, check it out. Prepare to have your mind blown, because it'll yeah, it's definitely an acquired taste, I'll say, because definitely whenever I show it to other people, they're like, "What the hell is going on here?" And so, yes, it is definitely an acquired taste, but it's I mean, I don't know if you like listen to metal either, but I'm sure like the first time that like The Who was on TV and they were breaking their guitars and stuff, it's like, whoa, these guys are crazy. And nowadays, you can probably listen to The Who and be like, oh yeah, what a good jam. You know, how
Oh
quaint, my
yeah.
parents like this. And so there's always going to be that stuff that's like on the outer edges and then it becomes more accepted over time. So there is going to be that stuff that it's like, oh, I've never heard of this. Yeah, check it out. And it's like, whoa, I don't know if I'm into this or if this is just noise or something. I had an argument with like one of my friend's parents who like insisted that rap isn't music. So yeah.
Oh wow, that is so mean. Rap is not music now. That's harsh. That's harsh considering my podcast name is called Rap. That first name is Rap. Like that's harsh. Whoever said that trash is they're an asshole. They said that. Forget what I just said. I'm sorry, but they really are.
I mean I I kind of understand his point, but I also kind of had to pull rank and be like, I have a master's degree in this. I think I know a little bit more than what you're talking about, dude.
Ooh, okay. I had to put a dramatic ooh when you said that. I put dramatic oohs. I, I don't know. Is that a good thing? To have dramatic oohs whenever a drama happens.
Oh yeah,
That's a good.
like in a sitcom with a laugh track, you can or a good awe. A good awe is also good whenever characters hug on screen or something.
Oh, I like those. Those are really nice whenever they make up after a fight or something cute happens during the episode. They're just like, "Aw, I like that." And when also there's a fight scene or there's an argument, they're like, "Ooh, I like that too." And, okay, that's something that's also very common. Okay. Do you actually play instruments?
Yeah, so my primary instrument is my voice. I guess followed then by my use of a computer and like Ableton Live and music production. Like at this point, music production is an instrument, and how you can manipulate the recorded medium is an instrument. And there are so many people that I feel like maybe might feel rejected because they may not play guitar or they may not be good at singing, but they're able to pull up something in like GarageBand or something and make something they're kind of proud of. But they might feel rejected because they're not quote unquote real musicians. Like you're a real musician if you're making sounds and you like them. So, but yeah, so I sing. I use the computer to record and manipulate sounds and create sounds with it. I play guitar. I play bass guitar, and I know enough on keyboard to compose with it or at least play chords and scales with it. But I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm a keys player.
I definitely understand that. I can see. I don't really see you playing keys though. I can see why you're not a keys person. I don't really see you playing keys. Now, I understand a guitar part because one of the nerd instruments is actually guitar. It's also I noticed that it's also flute and clarinet is also a very nerdy instrument, and also piano. is also one. I don't know if you play piano, but it
Right. Well,
always
I mean,
sounds
like
so nice.
keys is piano, but it isn't. I had to do like I had to learn piano for school. And so like again, I know scales and chords well enough to like fake it and write music with it. But I also used to play trombone and baritone, but I haven't really picked those up in a long time. So I can really just make sound design type of stuff with it. But yeah, I can look over sadly at my trombone and be like, yeah, you're just gonna sit in that case probably forever.
I feel like you were in a case whenever you were forced to play instruments. Like for me, the only thing that I was forced to play was like the flutes and bongos, and I think it was like a clarinet once. But I feel like you're actually in a cage whenever you were forced to play an instrument. Like, I never knew why schools ever did that.
Well, I think that there's this backwards thing about like music is helpful to students, and like the studies show that like music can be a good thing to have in someone's life, and it's true, music is a great thing to have in your life. But whenever you're forcing people to do something that they don't want to do, they're automatically just going to push against it. And so for me, I think one of the best like most revealing moments for me was whenever I figured out that I can play something that I like. It seems like such a silly and like simple concept, but like whenever I like just had a guitar and then I like listened to, I don't know, like a Radiohead song and then figured out how to play it on guitar, I was like, I can play the thing that my heroes are playing. I'm playing the exact same thing that they're playing. And that was such a mind-blowing thing to me. And so, yeah, to be able to just play the thing that you want to can be so inspiring and be like, I like that thing and I can make it myself. That's super cool.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I definitely agree 100%. I don't play instruments, but it feels good to have control of your choices and your interests. I love when people get to control what they like and they get to go on with it if they do like it. And if they don't have to do it.
Yeah.
Well, except school. School's the only thing that you have to do and some people don't enjoy it. I do though, but I don't know about others. Uh Now I have a fried brain for some reason. Also, you might have had on your podcast a fried brain. It's an expression like a blank space or like a headache or you can't think of anything. Like, have you ever had a fried brain moment ever? Have
Oh
you
yeah,
had
there's
an episode?
definitely the there's a balance that I've learned to fall into, that is whenever you're listening to someone tell their story or answer your question, and then you're like actively paying attention, you're like, yeah, totally, I agree with that, or no, wow, I've never heard that before. And then they stop talking, and then you as a host realize that, oh, I now have to follow this up with another question or just something else to say about this. And I was just listening like I should. And so I have developed this skill of running two processes in my head of like, I'm listening to what they're saying and I'm like taking note of what they're actually saying. But also, once they are done talking, I am prepared to throw another question their way. And so sometimes writing notes helps a lot, but also sometimes it is just like I've developed that skill of, cool, now they're done talking, throw this question at them. But it won't hurt my feelings if I hear like typing or writing down. If you're like, oh, they said this thing, I can ask them this right after they're done talking. You're good. You're trying to make a good show that you're trying to host and make things flow.
Mhm. The notes thing I am gonna try to do. I've never actually done it. I just usually have a list of questions and I ask them. If I run out of questions, I just make up one. It's crazy, but it worked. But I'm gonna try the notes thing as well. And along with the music thing, along with your music career, do you have any dream collabs in mind?
I I do have some collabs in mind, and so I'm currently working on my first singer-songwriter album. I have one album out now, which is all ambient music. I have another album coming out on May 28th, which is more like electronic music. And it's like a bit more upbeat and like heavier beats, I would say. But I'm working on my first singer-songwriter album that I've just like had these songs since like high school and all the way up until now that I want to like finish recording and put that thing out. But on the end of the album, I want to have like a track that uses track on the album, and I want to have. So I'm just gonna be like, here's all of the things that you can have if you want to use them, and now just and so I actually haven't asked this.
Out of you for your first singer-songwriter album. Props to you.
Yeah, it's just thank you, but it's also like really expensive because I'm doing as much as I can myself from home, obviously to save money for like recording studio time. But at the same time, it also costs a lot of money to like get drums recorded in a studio and get it all mixed and get it all mastered. And especially since I have kind of a lot of songs on this album, it is going to be expensive. So I like honestly a lot of times people ask like, "Oh, what's the biggest hurdle to like making music? Is it like finding stuff to write about?" Like, no. I feel like I know music well enough that I like am excited to write music. The hard part is paying for it. So, it's the reality of the world that we live in. I wish I could collaborate with like the best musicians ever to play on my stuff, but I also want to pay them.
Oh, so if you want people to collab, you have to pay them, or they have to pay you in order to collab. Like, how would
No,
artists? Because if you, oh, go ahead.
it's more like the like hiring a drummer, for example. Like I want to pay this drummer to play drums on my thing because like they're using their skills that I don't have to like lay something down on my songs that is really cool that I'm not necessarily capable of doing myself. And I want to pay them because it took them time to develop these skills. It took me a lot of time to develop my skills, and it took a lot of money as well. And so people deserve to get paid for doing a musical service. So it's not so much like having to pay someone for collabing with me, but it's more like I want you to use your skills well and I want you to get paid for them. And so musicians deserve to get paid for their music. And yeah, this stuff's expensive. And so like, and then like getting stuff mastered, getting stuff mixed, like all the equipment and all of the time it takes to do all this stuff. Again, it's a service, but it's also a skill that needs to be rewarded with payment because yeah, all this equipment isn't going to pay itself off. All of this education isn't going to pay itself off, and all of this time isn't going to pay itself off. So we got to make money, but we also got to spend money in order to produce a thing that we really want to do. And so, yeah, for me as well, editing podcasts, like you can do everything that you can for your own podcast to a certain point, But if you want to reach a certain level, you're either going to have to learn how to do all this stuff yourself or pay someone else to do it and have it reach the level of quality that you want to have. So it sucks. I'm newly into this whole like charging people for a large amount for doing what I do, but at the same time, like I know that I make good stuff, and so you got to pay for it. And that's the same thing with anyone else. Any other musician that I know makes good stuff, I want to pay them what they're worth.
Oh yeah, I definitely respect that. I definitely respect what you're doing. Hopefully, you don't have to charge me for doing this. I know this is like common
Oh heck no,
courtesy, but
this is a privilege.
oh cool. I thought you were gonna have to charge me because I've also interviewed somebody that also charges for interviews, and I'm like, why would you charge someone for an interview? Like, why would you do that? But he didn't. But
If money is involved, someone needs to say so up front. So I didn't say so up front. You're good. And like, yeah, I like being on podcasts. This is fun and cool. I get to just talk about myself for a long period of time. This is great.
yeah, that's what I also like is that I get to learn a lot about the artist, and artists get the time to talk about themselves. I have noticed that a lot of musicians like to talk about themselves in the way of music and about their life, and sometimes they want to ask about me because sometimes they want to learn about my life or they want to know about me. So we kind of have that back and forth kind of thing. And it's special. A podcast is very special. I've realized doing it for months, because actually in a few months it'll be my anniversary of 1 year anniversary of the podcast being made. So doing it for like almost a whole year, it's special. I mean, you've done it for 5, so of course you know that it's special. But for me, it's a very special relationship. Me and the podcast and everybody that's on it.
Yeah,
It's
no, definitely.
special.
I mean, it's a lot of work. People don't realize like when they start a podcast, it's like, whoa, like this is too much to do or too much for one person to do. And so like the fact that you've gone more than, even like a month, 2 months past it, like a lot of people don't get past 6 episodes. So getting through a whole year is awesome. So congratulations. That's great.
Oh, thanks. And it was not easy starting one, but I'm also glad that I did get to do one. I mean, it's crazy how it all started for me, but that's something that we'll go into later. Okay. Now I kind of want to go into songwriting because you'll be doing something special towards the end. And here's a hint: showcase. Anyway, I want to go into your songwriting abilities because we talked about production. Um, we talked about your songs, and now I kind of want to go into your writing. So, what is your creative process? How do you write a song? Or in your case, I don't really know. In your case, like I don't know if you just write songs or you write songs and beats. Like your creative process and writing goes.
It depends a lot of the time, although I think most of the time I do like to write the poetry first, write the lyrics first, and then add the music afterwards. I've heard from different sources that like apparently that's the more difficult thing to do, but for me, I think that I like having sort of the lyrical freedom to write something, write some poetry and write just what I'm feeling or on this idea or this story that I'm trying to tell, and not be limited by necessarily the number of like syllables that I have to cram into this like 8-bar section. I still write thinking of syllables and write in like a rhythmic way, but I don't necessarily think notes and rhythm right away. I just let the words come out as I feel like is right. And that's kind of a weird thing too. I always, when describing the creative process, I always talk about chiseling away at the marble that isn't the statue, which I think is like a Michelangelo or Raphael quote. But it really is, you're trying to find what is the right thing in here. What is the statue? What is the song trying to tell you? And kind of finding where it wants to go. And so for me, yeah, I write lyrics first, or sometimes I'll just have an initial idea. And in some of the stranger cases, I'll have just a sentence or a phrase come to mind, and the rest of the thing or the rest of the story will flourish out of it. So for example, one of my songs, Late, I was driving somewhere and every light I was running into was turning red, and that's kind of where the initial like seed of Late came out. And so like this phrase, every light I got to turned red, then inspired the rest of the story. And it's like, oh, now it's the story about like an old friend that you never used to talk to, and they passed away, and you like live far apart, and so you have to like get to their funeral, but you were late, and like this whole story kind of sprung out of it. But it, I was just following the thread, and the story came through. And so I talk a lot about storytelling, and that is kind of, it's what songwriters are doing. Even if the song is more like an emotional front, you're still trying to tell a story, whether it's like, if you have the traditional song form, which is like verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, the verses expand more of the story, and the choruses really nail in the emotion of what this story is trying to say. And then the bridge kind of gives you some sort of different place or some sort of conclusion about this adventure. And then the chorus really like nails it back in, and this is why this whole thing is. And so even just with that song structure, it really lends itself to telling a story really well. But then you can also play with structure. You can play with how long or short the verses are, how long or short the choruses are. I have a song called Ghost where I change one word in the pre-chorus each time it happens, and it slightly alters the story each time it happens, because that one word changes everything. And then one word changes in the chorus, or like in the last chorus, everything is different now. And so even if it's like still musically the same, something different is now happening. And so I really appreciate the medium of songwriting, because it's a way of telling stories in as little amount of words possible. And that's a really interesting puzzle to work with. And so it is, and people talk about how composers are really good puzzle solvers, because we really are trying to achieve something, and we have a lot of limitations, and we're trying to find a way of achieving that through those limitations. I know
Oh
that was a
yeah,
really long-winded answer, but yeah.
that's fine. That's fine. I love long-winded answers. More information about you means more talking and more getting to know each other. So that's okay. I also respect your process and how you do stuff as a writer. Everybody that knows me knows that I'm a songwriter, so they love to ask questions about my style of writing because mine's a lot different. I totally respect your way of writing,
Hmm.
and it's a very unique. It's unique to me, and I like that you start off writing and then music. Because some people I know does cut the reverse, and you've seen people do that where they do the music first and then you're writing. But I never understood why. Because if you, for example, if you're a rapper and your beats a space beat and your songwriting doesn't match the space beat you have to go back and fix your beat. So you end up doing writing and then the music. You end up doing that order
Oh
anyway.
yeah.
So I don't
Hmm.
get why people do songwriting. I mean the music before songwriting, because you
Hmm.
end up doing songwriting for the music anyway, because if you mess up, you have to go back, you have to fix and do it over again. So order will always be there.
Yeah. So do you always do lyrics first and then music?
Oh yes, I always do that. I mean, for I've done it for a very long time. I always write music before the beat, before picking a beat or making one, because songwriting starts it off. I mean, if you don't have the correct lyrics to go with an instrumental or beat, then that kind of stirs things up. Like for example, I'm gonna use rap again. Um, you might use a country rap beat, which country rap is actually a thing,
Yeah.
but your lyrics don't match the beat, and so you have to go back and you either have to fix your songwriting or you have to fix the beat or instrumental you use. And so everything starts off the songwriting. When you have the lyrics built in, then you can go on to the music. It makes better sense then. I'm not saying the versing's wrong, but it's just a songwriting before the beat makes better sense than doing it reverse. And you're doing that anyway. You're doing it anyway. So that thing's natural. You're doing the whole thing anyway, so you can't really escape from it.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Oh, I love the quirkiness in you. Like I think nerdy, quirky, and out there's probably three things. It's probably those three. And I'm just following your process. Like, how do you describe your music?
I think first of all, it's story, because I don't really fit into any genre. Like I intentionally write songs in different genres because the story lends itself better to a certain genre. And so I have like a pop punk song, and I have more of like a grunge song, and I have more like a acoustic singer songwriting song. Like it all runs the gamut because of the stories that I'm trying to tell. And so for me, it's story first, and music follows the story. And that's a lot of the way that composers score film, for example. The score is always trying to serve the story and not the other way around. Because if the music starts distorting, or you get distracted from the story that's happening on screen, for example, then you are actually like stepping on the toes of the director. And so it for me, I'm always trying to tell the story first. And so my first album is going to be all stories that I made up. And actually the hey, be excited for like the next project, whenever that'll be, is it's going to be all songs inspired by video games. And I have like several of the songs written already, but like so then that way it's the story is already in the game, and I'm doing songs that can kind of fit in the world of the game. So no matter what, I'm always going with story first.
Oh, sweet. I love storytelling. I love incorporating in my music. I really enjoy storytelling. I don't do it enough, but I love it. And I'm glad you do storytelling because I also dabble in storytelling sometimes in my songs. And it's so interesting too, whenever that happens, whenever you tell a story. I don't know, it just feels really nice to do that. I'm not sure how that's how you feel, but for me, whenever I do storytelling, I love it like that. I don't know how you are, but that's just me.
It's the thing about the stories themselves is that they're metaphors for the rest of the emotions that we might feel. So even if you may not necessarily relate to this exact story that like the character in the song is embodying, you might relate to the feeling of remorse, or the feeling of fear or the feeling of excitement or the feeling of love. And so I feel it's a lot harder in some ways for me to just write songs directly, like, oh, here's just how I feel. I think for me, maybe it's more interesting or more fun. I don't know. But it's like, I prefer to. Oh, and they're gone again. There you are again. I'm just going to finish the sentence. For me, I prefer to just tell a story in order to convey those emotions. And that way, the song holds up on itself. And then there's also the emotions behind it that anyone can relate to. And so it's an art form in itself, I guess.
Most definitely, 100%. And also to go along with what you said earlier about the filmmaking, the songwriting before the music will always be natural, even in movies where the music has to fit what the movie's about. So you can't just like, you need the script in order to like write good scores. So that's where
Exactly.
the songwriting before making music comes to play, and that order will always be there. And no, and you can't really run. Like even if you did reverse, you end up going back.
Yeah,
Like you
definitely.
end up, huh?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, that's why, like, sometimes it's a struggle in film because you kind of have to wait until the whole film is done and edited and stuff. You can start like making some sketches and stuff, but once, like, you can't actually like put anything down, because if you take like even a single frame out of the whole film, the rest of the audio is not going to line up anymore. And so, like, it that's also kind of why like film scores have to be made in like such a quick time. But the you do have to have everything set in place before the music can help enhance it. And so that can probably also go into, like, you can use that to describe songwriting as well. Like if you don't have the whole structure or the whole like story that you're trying to say, even if it is more of an emotional type song, even if it is like a rap song, like it can't just be like, I'm a badass, look at how awesome I am. Like, you sometimes you got to say like, I'm a badass, look at how awesome I am because of all of these things. And look at how I got here. And that can be way more interesting than all of the millions of songs that just say, I'm a badass, look at me.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I actually have some rappers that actually did that, just plain like that. But also when they put style into their songwriting and also their music, it makes things more interesting.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I agree, makes things better.
Mm.
At least that kind of way it does. Let me see. And having a blank space, so let's go on to just say this. Oh, one more thing that I forgot to mention. Have you in your life ever gone through a writer's block? Like
Yeah.
ever?
It's, yeah. And the thing is that like, there's always just different approaches that you can take in the context of like composition. We always talk about the composer's toolbox. And so sometimes the toolbox is just referring to like if you're trying to achieve a very specific thing, like trying to get a certain specific sound. But the toolbox can also be approached in a creative sort of way. And so a lot of ways out of writer's block is to put yourself in a different environment or a different headspace. Because if you're staying in the same place and it's not getting the results that you want, then you have to go somewhere else. And so there's a lot of different methods that are always really kind of strange and out there, like, and then there's just like exercises to just like, oh, hey, write This is actually a song that I ended up writing from one of these random like songwriting prompts to get out of my comfort zone, which is like, oh, write a song from the point of view of an item in your house. And even if it doesn't turn out great, just doing the exercise can help get ideas flowing. And so some of it can also just be like not being afraid to make mistakes. Like it's okay to write something, look at it, and be like, this is garbage. Don't throw it away. Just look at it and go, what did I do? How can I make this thing better? And so there's always something to do, even if you're in like some sort of writer's block, like, man, I can't make anything good right now. Well, keep going and try different things, put yourself in a different brain space, go somewhere else, put yourself in a place that you don't normally write. Or if you're musically blocked, maybe try playing on an instrument you don't normally play on and see what kind of stuff comes out that way. Even if it's not any good, it still gets something moving in your head.
Oh yeah. I definitely agree 100%. And I've actually tried some of those things. The only other thing that I also like to do is to collaborate.
Mm-hmm.
I love collaborating with other artists that also bring the inspiration and also writer's block as well. I don't know if you do that, but for me, I love doing that. Collaborating also helps for me. I don't know if that's for you, but for me that is.
Yeah, it's definitely like calling up a friend and it's like, hey, let's just jam or something. And you see the way that they do something and you're like, whoa, this is completely different from anything that I would do. And I love seeing that. Let me ask you about that. Or, okay, well, now let me show you like something that I've been working on. What do you think would go better here? And it's okay to like expand the creative process to other people. And because like you're just your brain. And so the more people you get involved in the thing, the more perspectives you can have, the more ideas can flow because you have your trains of thought that are always going to flow one way. And so you bring in someone else and they'll shake that whole thing up too.
Oh yeah, and sometimes collaborating even makes the song a lot more fun and a lot more creative and maybe even better. Maybe not better, but definitely more fun and creative whenever someone else comes on and helps you.
Just get something different.
Yeah. Most definitely 100%. I might got some things in my hair. Anyway, golly. Now I'm saying not being comfortable with saying I've gotta stop though. I I can't do that. Like all this flawness is coming out of me.
You can just pause if you don't want to say but you can also say you can say so really long. That's another good one. And
Oh,
there's
okay. So okay. That sounds nice. I don't think I would do pausing because people don't like blank spaces, but I'm gonna do so. So okay. Everybody on this show does a showcase. And
Sweet.
since you're well, a singer, songwriter, producer, you have many options. Since you're a singer and songwriter, you get to do a little performance if you want to, that is, if you want to. I'm not gonna force you to do something you don't want to, but it's a tradition everybody does. And it's fun! At least for me, it's fun.
Can you
At
hear
least
my
for me,
guitar?
it is.
Is that
Well,
coming
you gotta
through at
play
all?
it.
If not, then I might
Try
have to
playing it
grab my
again.
acoustic guitar.
Yeah, I'm not hearing the guitar at all. And are you sure
Okay.
you're playing it?
Yeah, I think it's just what Discord is listening to. So instead, I might just grab my acoustic and it'll just be loud enough to go into my microphone. So give me
Yeah,
one
try the
sec.
acoustic one. Okay. And I'll just hype up the audience out here while you do that. Okay, everybody get excited. And I'm just hyping everybody up so there's no blanks in here. People do tend to not like it whenever I do that, so I'm not going to. Okay, let's see. Okay. Now I'm gonna try the so. So that's nice. That's nice. That's nice. That's nice. That's
So since
nice.
I wasn't, or I just need to tune my guitar real quick. Everyone loves the
Okay.
sound of tuning.
I love tuning. All right. All right. Sorry for the silence, everybody. That's my bad.
No, I mean
I'm so
that's also my
excited.
bad because I wasn't sure about if Discord was going to be able to receive a second input, and I guess it wasn't. So, can you hear my guitar now?
Sort of.
Let me
But I
do
sort
turn
of,
up my mic, and
sort of.
then how's that?
Here you go. Uh, sort of. But some people just do a cappella if you can't get an instrument.
Okay. Well, I mean, uh, yeah. If you can hear the guitar, congratulations. But yeah, uh, I'll just start the song. This song is called "Right Now." It's about being mad.
Mm.
I'm not mad at you. How could I ever be? I wanna fix it too. Why won't you let me? I've done nothing wrong, at least as far as I can tell. We could move right along, tell me and let's get well. But it's okay, and I want to right now. It's alright to be raging right now. Stop and breathe with me right now. You don't have to see anything right now. Right now. Right now. Right now, I want to be alone. All I need from you is for you to let me be. All that I can do is try to help you see. I'll always be here to support you. I want you to hear that I'm getting through. But it's okay, and I want to right now. It's alright to be raging right now. Stop and feel with me right now. You don't have to see anything right now. Right now. Right now. Whoa. Right now, I want to be alone.
Oh wow.
But it's okay, and I want to right now. It's alright to be raging right now. Stop and breathe with me right now. You don't have to be saying it right now. Oh, no. Right, right now. Right now, I want to be alone. Right now. There you go, right now.
Oh, oh wow. You were cutting out quite a bit, so I could only hear like some of it. And you were cutting like throughout the whole entire song, you were like cutting out. I think everybody like barely could hear anything.
Well, I recorded it on my end, so um
Everybody
I
will
think it might
get
be,
to.
yeah. So I think it was because like Discord has like a noise suppression type thing, and it probably hears uh guitar sounds as noise. So that's probably what that was.
Oh, I got you. But I'm also so glad that you're also recording because that is a lifesaver. You're basically a lifesaver. But I just want to deeply say thank you, and not just a regular thank you, like an overall thanks, and not only because of this, because of just your presence, and also you taking your time out of your whole life and your whole day to do this thing with me. I mean, I really, I feel really happy just to be talking with you. Right.
Hey, there it
Okay.
goes.
Okay. Um, I was saying with the end credits, and you can repeat what you said, but basically, thanks, shout outs, last words, advice, all that. Just go ahead.
Yeah. I'll just go with the advice part because I feel like that's the more important part. I can thank my wife and cat all the time, anyways. But but yeah, do what you do and do it well and lean into it and do it as hard as possible and be extra and yeah, because it's tough to do something that's so raw and vulnerable, and so lean into it because no one likes hearing basic normal stuff. So be you, be unique, be awesome, and be extra.
Mm-hmm. Any extra. That's nice. But I do want to deeply say thank you. I do want to deeply, I do want to acknowledge that I really do want to thanks. And is there anything else you would like to add about you as an artist or your podcast? Anything else you would like to ask or add any information or ask me about before we end this whole thing? Anything else?
I'll actually change the thing and go with what's something people don't normally know about you.
Well, people don't really know. A lot of people don't know why I don't record music because people know that I'm a songwriter and I've been asked, but people don't really know like the full thing. Um I don't record. There's also a couple things with that one because I don't have time. I don't like myself recording music and I don't envision myself doing it. So there's no point in doing it if you don't see yourself doing it. Um
Mm-hmm.
and then like also people don't know the meaning of my name, my artist name. I don't usually talk about it because people don't ask me about it, but people don't know my name musically, and musically kind of describes the way music is, and musically kind of describes all things in music. And when I say musically, this it describes music in general, and that's how I look at music in general. I look at it very musically, so musically it was kind of natural for me to have the name. It just stuck.
Yeah. I will also say that you can also separate it and it says music ally. You're an ally of music.
Oh, I never thought of that. I never thought of that either. I never really thought about breaking that by name either.
Yeah, so you can also just look at it as musically, like, yeah, all the stuff that you said, but then also you're a music ally. And I think even with this podcast, you're being an ally to other musicians.
Oh yeah, and then in the podcast also an aid. And some people also to add with that, they don't know the meaning and mission behind this whole thing. And people think I just do rappers for some reason. Some people, when I ask them for an interview, they're like, I'm a producer and I'm not a rapper. I'm like, but I also interview musicians. I have to clear them up for, excuse me, for them. But I don't do just rappers anymore. I do every type of musician. Like, I expanded, but I do this to help others. I don't do it because of popularity. I don't do it because of money. I don't do it just to impress people. I do it because it's fun, because I get to help people, because people need help in their music and they can get advice, experience from others, promotion of their music, and they get to show off their musical talent. And a lot of people like it when I get to tell rappers to rap it out, or I tell singers to perform a piece. They get to showcase their talent that way, and they get to display it, and so people will like them, hopefully, and they'll get to admire them as an artist, and it'll build more revenue. And so they get to have that on my podcast. And it's also really fun, and I fuck anyone else who says otherwise. So yeah.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. I love it.
Yeah, and I use things like Matchmaker to find my next best act. That's where you came from.
Yeah.
I didn't think you would still want to after months of no response. I didn't think I kind of like gave up on, you not being here, and then surprise, you came up on Discord and asked me. Like, you just surprised me. Like, you came online and I said hey, and you said, and then like, where have you been? I haven't seen you for months. And then like, I've been busy with blah blah blah. And then like, but like, boom, you just surprised me. And then now this is where we're at now.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry that it took me so long, but I'm glad to be here.
I understand the longness. You have all what's going on, so I didn't really expect you to be forward with it. But I also didn't expect you to like give up on an interview because you love talking about yourself. I've also heard about nerds too. They like to talk about them and their life as an artist. I've noticed about that. Even me, I like it. And I always tell people also my favorite emoji is the emoji with glasses. The nerd emoji. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
It's cute.
I don't really use emojis myself, but I guess I've probably used the fire one the most.
Yeah, I also use a thumbs up one. I also use thumbs
Although
up.
there was a group that I was in where the toilet emoji was used quite a bit.
Oh, disgusting.
It's great.
Anything that deals with a toilet is not good. It's disgusting. Just remember that also.
Let me let you in on a little secret. Everyone poops.
I know that. It's not a secret. I know everyone does it. It's disgusting, but everyone does it. It's not a secret. Everybody does it.
Everybody does it so secretly, though.
That's how it's supposed to be done. You're supposed to go into a bathroom and you're supposed to do your business in there, like like you're supposed to do it secretly. Like that's
I'm just
how
messing
things go.
I'm just messing with you at this point.
I know. Line things up in a nerdy style. I don't usually do good with jokes. So what I do with jokes is that I kind of joke around in my nerdy kind of style. So it's not really the same as a comedian would. It's kind of like a smart and nerdy comedian. Uh, SNL, like smart, nerdy, L. Um, so what should the L stand for? Mm, maybe local. Smart, nerdy, local comedian.
There you go.
See?
Sorry, I didn't have anything to yes and onto that. I've never really tried comedy improv. I just do musical improv.
Yeah, but that could be. That's a good thing, though. And I'm surprised your podcast isn't a musical improv one. I mean, I've heard you do like philosophy on your podcast, so I never really. I thought you did like a music one like I did. You did do like a really deep kind of thing with yours. Like
Yeah,
I wonder
so
why.
the the reason for that is that like I guess like three basic things is I do music, I talk to people about deep stuff for extended periods of time, and probably then it's like video games. And so the talking to people for extended periods of time is just it came out of like sitting in friends' cars at like 3 a.m. and like talking for hours on end and having really super deep conversations. And so that was bit depth is just my way of continuing that with people that I want to get to know better. So it doesn't have to be music because everyone is interesting. Everyone has something to say. Everyone has their own views about what the nature of reality might be. And where none of us are right or wrong necessarily, and we're all just floating on a rock in space, trying our best. And that's a cool thing. It's okay to not know, and it's okay to be different from other people. Let's just talk about it.
Oh yeah, most definite. And I've also really taken it when I learned about artists, I learned about a lot about them, and we grow a relationship. I mean, you get to grow a relationship with you and your guests also.
Yeah, exactly. And
It's also pretty
uh,
amazing.
the connections that I've gotten to have through the podcast are, I'm really grateful for, and I'm grateful for this connection on the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, you're like a really cool friend. Like, you're that kind of
Thanks.
friend where if we met at a coffee shop or we met at Barnes and Noble, like we could just sit there and talk forever, and it could be about anything. You're that kind of friend. Like, I've met some friends where we just talk and they leave forever, or we just talk and they're bored and they just do something else. But you're the kind of guy that I enjoy talking to, and I enjoy um, having good conversations, and that's a good relationship to have. It's very rare that I find people like that, though. But when I do find people like you, I savor that. I savor this moment that we have, and I enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, if you're interested in more of those conversations, you can listen to Bit Depth, which is available on all the podcast platforms. Shameless self promotion.
Oh, sweet, sweet, cool. That's sweet. I'm gonna check out your podcast a lot more, though. I'm gonna listen to it a bit more. That's something that I regret doing. But yeah, this isn't going anywhere. What I'm saying, so I'm just gonna go on the good side. Just say thanks again, and make sure to check out my socials, everybody. It's everything Wrap It Up Podcast. That's pretty much everywhere, so everybody can just Google it or just put it on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Comes up. Santiago, I'm not. You can also drop your socials. I prefer you message me yours. Um, but where can people check you out?
Yeah. I pretty much mostly use Instagram because it's all sleek and put together and looks and sounds nice. So I'm at Santiago Ramones Music, and my podcast is at bit.depth. And yeah, so I also have an album coming out on May 28th. It is, well, it's an EP. It's called Sound Bytes. And if you want to help accelerate the process of me finishing Hypothetical, you can, I guess, buy my music on Bandcamp or support me on Patreon because I exist there as well. Or you can go to my website, santiagoramones.com, and see whatever the heck else I do because I do a lot of stuff.
Oh, sweet. Y'all check them out. Remember to message me those whenever we're done.
Yep.
Remember to give me those. And thank you so much for watching, everybody. Thank you, Santiago, for being here. I really, really enjoyed our talk, and I hope you enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, it was a great time. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. And anything else? Any last questions, comments, or anything to tell people out there before we end this?
I will say my 3 things that I end my podcast with, which is my life philosophy, which are love never fails, it's going to be okay, I might be wrong.
I like your philosophy. Very empowering.
Thanks.
Very empowering. I respect it 100%. And don't let that sink in for everybody out there. Don't say what it means. But I'm gonna let that philosophy sink in for a bit. When he comes on later, we'll talk about it. When he comes back later. But I'm gonna let the philosophy sink into your brains. And I hope everybody has a good one. And stay tuned for more to come from me. And I'll put a disclaimer up there from anything weird you guys find in this episode, by the way. So letting you guys know. Again, make sure to check out socials. Everything's a Wrap It Up podcast. More episodes are coming soon, so be on the lookout for those. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Have a good one, everybody. Bye, bye, y'all. Hello, everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight as we dove into a wonderful podcast episode. Now, in this following segment, you will get a chance to hear this artist's showcase because every artist that comes on the show requires to do a showcase. So buckle up, get some popcorn, and enjoy the showcase. I hope you guys love it, and check out the artist when you get a chance to. Hope you guys love it. Enjoy.
I'm not mad at you, how could I ever be? I wanna fix it too, why won't you let me? I've done nothing wrong, at least as far as I can tell. We could move right along, tell me and let's get well. But it's okay and I want to right now. It's alright to be raging right now. Stop and breathe in with me right now. You don't have to be seething right now. Right now. Right now. Right now I wanna be alone. All I need from you is for you to let me be. All that I can do is try to help you see. I'll always be here to support you. I want you to hear that I will get you through. But it's okay and I want to right now. It's alright to be raging right now. Stop and breathe in with me right now. You don't have to be seething right now. Right now. Right now. Whoa. Right now I wanna be alone. But it's okay, I want